We have so many historical examples of apartheid ethnostates failing in their genocidal projects. And at the time, all the way until the last moment, all the way until the very last moment, okay, it seems impossible to shake. It seems unflinching. And then all of a sudden, after years, decades of work, one day it ceases to exist. And then we never even look back at it. Do you understand? I know it feels impossible right now with your current lens on the conflict, with America's reaction defending Israel, funding Israel's genocide. You think it's not going to happen at all. There's no way to change the outcome. But it will. I know it will. I see tides changing. I've been seeing more people reference Japan's successful ethnostate lately. How would one combat this? It's pretty funny to say Japan is successful as an ethnostate when its entire fucking failure currently in its economy, in the way that it operates, directly is a consequence of its ethnostate project. Look at their fucking population, dog. Just literally look at their population. It's a fucking reverse pyramid. It is one of the more notorious examples of what happens when you don't allow immigration into your country due to xenophobic sentiment. It is a perfect representation of what happens when you don't do that. America or Germany are great examples of the exact opposite, as a matter of fact. It is also not entirely an ethnostate. There are many ethnicities within it, sure, but come on. Japan is a continuation of empire in the same way that Turkey is. Turkey is very fucking diverse as a consequence of obviously being the continuation of the Ottoman Empire, but that doesn't. But all of those ethnic demographics are still Turkish. It's considered that. Yeah. Also, if you don't think Japan is an ethnostate, look no further than their treatment of the Ainu people, both in contemporary Japanese society, but also historically. That's a very Turkish thing to say. No, I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm simply stating that continuations of former empires will always have, will always have a diversity of ethnicity, but like a singular national identity overall. But it's understandable to widely regard it as an ethnostate. To be honest, Germany is not a prime example. We would need a lot more immigrants than we have right now when we try to do the exact opposite. My friend, what I'm referencing is actually post-World War II German immigration programs, specifically of Turkish migrant workers, that actually revitalized the German economy. That is simply what I'm talking about. If it was not for said example, the German economy would have gone the way, if it maintained a demographic concern, or not a demographic concern from age, but like an ethnic concern in its immigration processes, it would not have had an industrial engine that it does today. They needed young men to come and work in the factories. Yes, I have had a Berlin-style donut. It's actually very good. Turks didn't revitalize the economy. They literally rebuilt the entire nation. Gastarbeiter is the term. Should I read this Time article? I feel like it's going to make me lose my mind. The gist of this article is that the new anti-Semitism is criticizing Israel because it is a settler colonial state rooted in white supremacy because Jews were not considered white by Europeans, but race is socialized and changes over time. Also, it's the same principle behind like Hispanic populations being regarded as white now in America, and also falling into more reactionary sentiment, specifically about Hispanic migration patterns. So it doesn't matter. Whiteness is just a substitute for power in this regard. It is not about how pasty your fucking skin is. It's just impossible to like explain this to dullards who just simply refuse to understand. They have the thickest, densest fucking skulls. I don't know. It's a disappointing article to say that we cannot criticize a state which is very much a settler colonial in nature and very much committing a genocide currently is just absurd to me in every single way. We can recognize the oppression and suffering of Jewish people and recognize even that they were seeking refuge from oppression, but so were the first colonists in the USA. It doesn't change the fact that they were still colonists and the state is still a settler colonial in nature. Whiteness simply is a substitute for the in-group. It just signals proximity to power. Okay? That's it. If you're declared non-white, that means you are not a part of the in-group. Depending on demographic concerns, most of those in the out-group, with the exception of black people, will always be brought into the dominant white in-group. That's why America is still majority white, even though technically, with the same standards that we used to apply to whiteness, depending on different time frames, it would not be considered majority white right now. That's it. The irony is that if you go back to Benjamin Franklin, Germans are swarthy, according to him. The only exception outside of white Anglo-Saxon Protestants was to the French, because Benjamin Franklin loved French pussy. That's what it is, straight up. He said maybe with the exception of the French, that the Germanic peoples were swarthy, the Nordic people were swarthy or tawny. Everyone was not white with the exception of white Anglo-Saxon Protestants and some French. Tawny, not swarthy, sorry. Swarthy is for the Italians. Throughout time, whichever the large group of migrants were originally not considered white, a part of the in-group, and then slowly but surely brought into the in-group. Right? Italians, the Greek, Jews, Polish people, Slavs. These were subcategories that were technically not white. The Irish, although they were white and are obviously completely fucking white, it doesn't matter. At the time, their reception was that they were not white. And slowly but surely, every single one of those groups have now become white. Hispanics being the last population group to be brought in to the white category. What about Asians? Would you say they will consider white in the future? Asians are already they're already seen as the model minority. So they're already a part of the in-group. Asian is also so massive as a ethnic group that it's hilarious to categorize them as one singular thing. All of these different ethnicities are massively diverse. To be fair, the reason it's hard to get across is because your explanation is America-centric. Did Germans not consider themselves white? Well, the Germans considered themselves to be the dominant in-group in Germany. So, yes, depending on a different time frame, if you look at Germany now, for example, although I, myself, would be categorized as a white person, understandably in the United States of America, in Germany, I am considered Turkish because I am Turkish. So therefore, not a part of the in-group in the same way. If you go back further in time, you know that there are categories in Germany that were definitely not considered white. Romani people, Jewish people, very different. Yeah, Slavs, not white in Germany as well at the time. I know you know this, but you mean Asian is an absurdly broad racial group, not an ethnicity? Asian is a race, not an ethnicity. That's why it's horseshit. Yeah, it's pretty funny because it's literally the most populated part of the planet. Asian as a race captures, I believe, the most populated race on the planet. It ranges from Pakistan and even Afghanistan and even fucking Turkey, technically, if you want to get technical with it, to literally Japan. You got India, you got Russia, you got Japan, you got China. It's ridiculous. Yeah, South Korea to Saudi Arabia. Try to stop using the word race, maybe. Wait, what? Why would I stop using the word race when describing racial dynamics? What the fuck? And this is before we even get to the other subgroups underneath races as well. in each individual country, because these countries are also incredibly diverse as well, with many different cultures and with super long histories far beyond the inception of the American settler colonial state. Something to, something to consider. Oh, she's pressing buttons. Calm down. No. Anyway, guys, love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.